On this episode, remembering the Prince of Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne.
Okay, joining us now, I have my definitive Ozzy guru. He's also the co-host of the Diary of the Madmen podcast and the guitarist for Downtrend. Let's welcome to the show, Josh Crum. Josh, man, I would normally say, how are you? But this is a strange time now. I'm in a fog myself, my friend.
Right. I know we were just discussing, me and Dan and Ryan, who do the Diary of the Madmen podcast, that we're kind of over the shock now. You know, yesterday was all shock, and today is more just sorrow.
Yeah, I think a little bit of the shock was that it was, just about 2 weeks after his final show, and he was true to his word. He was going to get back to the stage one more time for his fans to do something spectacular, and it was.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, so many people were like, oh, he's been sick for so long. I mean, he hasn't had the greatest of health, but he didn't look like he was going to pass away either, like right then. You know, Kelly shared a video yesterday morning of them at the dinner at the kitchen table for breakfast, and Kelly was there, and Sid, her son, and Ozzy and Lewis, which is Ozzy's son from his first marriage, was there, and Ozzy looked great. And then a few hours later, you know, he's gone.
Yeah, I think that's why everybody was pretty shocked about that, right? It was just like, I mean, we always say we all knew it was coming at some point, but I think it was still a little too quick for everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
So just a major loss, rock and roll legend, never to be seen again. Obviously, Gene Simmons quoting that, saying, you know, we'll never see the likes of someone like Ozzy Osbourne ever again. No doubt with that. One thing I want to ask you about, last time we had a chance to chat with you, you had mentioned to us when you had went to the listening party at Sirius Radio for the Patient Number 9 album. You got a chance to chat with Ozzy a little bit, and he said there might be some new music. You think maybe we'll see any of that at all? Any chance?
Yeah, I think so. I think they've slowly been working on some things kind of under the radar, just when there's free time. And I think the Back to the Beginning concert definitely took away from that for a little while. The focus became that concert and making it the greatest show, the greatest metal day in the history of metal. But I do think there's some stuff that they've been working on. And, you know, we still have some leftover stuff from Patient Number 9. There was 3 tracks on that album that Taylor Hawkins played drums on that never got released. And they were kind of holding those for a Taylor, potentially like a Taylor Hawkins tribute thing or something. Well, now, you know, they're even that much more special because they're Ozzy, you know, and now we've lost him. So there's definitely some stuff out there. But as far as new material that he was currently working on, I do believe he was working on some things. I truly do. So time may tell how far along they were with that. But, you know, it's been 3 years since Patient Number 9, and I don't think he's just sat there for 3 years. We all know Ozzy; he's far too. He doesn't like to sit around, you know.
Right. I'm thinking he was probably working on some of that stuff in the background for sure, and I hope we definitely see that. And I was also looking online. It looks like his books are completely sold out as well. I Am Ozzy and Last Rites, his latest book that came out. Both of those completely sold out online. No surprise there at all.
Yeah.
I think what we're waiting now is just to hear any official word on what we'll see for a funeral and a last procession for him and a kind of total send off. I know the family's really trying to keep that under wraps. You also had spoken to Jack Osbourne a while back on your show. Any chance you think you'll be chatting with him again in the future?
You know, maybe. I don't know. Jack does a lot of podcasts. He does a lot of things, and you know, I don't know the connection he gave me. He gave me his contact directly, but he gave me like a third party person who is his contact. He's like, you know, you cannot give this to anyone. If I give it to you, She knows I gave it to you. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
And
Yep.
now that and honestly, now that Osborne Media is done, I don't know if that connection is even still there. So to be honest, I don't know. Jack was wonderful. He made us feel like we were a little closer to the family for sure. I mean, and for Jack to go on the Osborne's podcast and discuss Diary of the Madmen podcast and how great these two guys were. It's like, there's guys that know a lot, and then there's these guys,
Right.
and for him
He
to
seemed
tell
to be
Sharon and
super impressed with you guys.
yeah,
He's like, Dad, these guys, there's deep, and these guys were going really, really deep on their show. Like he
yes,
was impressed
yes.
with your knowledge for sure.
Yeah, that was a great moment. Jack's such a great guy. And then, when I got the news yesterday, the initial hurt is all of us as fans, how you feel. And then it was about an hour and a half later, I started thinking about Jack, and I started thinking about, Kelly and Sharon and Lewis and and Jessica too. Ozzy had a strange daughter named Jessica that no one really talks about anymore. That's still her dad. And then I started thinking about Zach Wild, and I'm like, Zach's got a freaking gig tonight. Like, what's Zach gonna do? And you start thinking about all the people that's more personal. That he wasn't just a rock star to them. He was a friend. He was a family member, a loved one, and this is really so hard. And I think that the outgoing of support has been. It could be because I follow hard rock music more, but to me, it feels like it's been more than Michael Jackson got or
Yeah.
Prince.
Yeah, it's definitely. I
You
mean, like yourself, I follow all the hard rock and heavy metal as well, and the outpouring on social media, on the internet, on TV, on radio, on everything dedicated to this man, his career, his different things that he's obtained over the years, and just it's just been amazing to see all that and all the outpouring from
yeah.
different stars. It's just even folks that you didn't think he was getting along with anymore or might have had a bad relationship with, still were, talking about him the good old days.
Well, did you see Jakey Lee's post?
Yeah,
The first one he just put "damn it," and it was just, and a picture of him and Ozzy, and I was like, I as Ozzy fans, the true Ozzy fans, the fact that Jake, I'm sorry, was at Back to the Beginning was just such a huge deal for us. And I watched an interview with Jake last week where he said, I really didn't know where I stood with the Osbournes anymore. He said, I just
right.
didn't know how they felt about me. He said, so when I got there, I was nervous, but I've wanted to talk to them for many years. And he said, when I got there, Sharon just walked up and put her hands on my face and rubbed my face and said, Ozzy's been dying to talk to you. He said, and I walked over there and Ozzy asked me how I was doing. He said, then we had a short conversation. And then today he shared his last text with Ozzy. Did you see that yet? It just came out a few hours ago where
Yeah.
Ozzy had texted him and said, I'm sorry I didn't get to talk to you any more than I could this past weekend, but when I get back to LA, please, let's get together and talk. And I thought, man, that's all we ever wanted. But I'm glad Jake had that closure also of mending that fence before, and some, like you said, people who may have had a little bit of beef. I don't think it was ever really with Ozzy. I think it was more with the business and the way the business can be sometimes. But because even Bob Daisley in his book, he said, I miss my friend. And Ozzy said in his book he missed Bob Daisley, so I miss my friend. So I think the connection was always there, but just business is business sometimes. But yeah, it's. I was thinking, Rob, on the way up here, think about what a great biopic this will be one day. It had to be 9 hours long to cover everything Ozzy freaking did. But and then it ends with him getting sick and 6 years, since he fell. But then at the end, he finally has that triumphant concert and raises $190 million for charity, and then
Right.
dies 2 weeks later.
Right. Right. Just an
I mean,
amazing feat at the end that he could still pull something like that off and just amazing. But yeah, like I said, the outpouring of people that you didn't think had a relationship anymore or still might have a grudge for whatever reason, business reason, personal reason, for whatever, they kind of all came together and realized, I think, they would not be where they are, have a career in music if it wasn't for this man. I mean, however the chips fell at the end, that's what it comes down to.
100%, 100%. And not to be ugly, but like Bob Daisley, for example, which is always the key, because Bob was such a huge part of Ozzy's solo career. There's no denying that. I mean, from
Right.
Blizzard all the way up through
Right.
No More
So many
Tears.
people don't
You
give
know,
him the credit for writing all the
yeah,
lyrics to these songs that are so memorable, you
you
know?
know. But at the same time, what did Bob do outside of Ozzy? Yeah, he was in Uriah Heep, and he'd done a little bit of set, but he was never. It was never anything to that level it took the pair. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Definitely. Yeah. I was just in a fog for the last day or so. I've been spending way too much time on social media, obviously, seeing all the things and updating all the things and talking to people. And, they're talking about, tribute shows in my area. I'm sure they're talking about tribute shows in all different areas and things like that happening. Yeah, I think it still hasn't totally hit home for me. Anyway, it's so weird because a couple days ago I was thinking about that. I'm like, what if he passes soon? It's kind of weird. It's kind of. I was just thinking about that a couple days ago after his show. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
like you said, everybody said he looked pretty decent. For
Mm-hmm.
what he's gone through. And then
Yeah.
I kind of felt blindsided a little bit. Like when I caught the news, I'm like, holy crap!
Yeah. I think we all did. I think that's part of what made it hurt so bad because, like I said, we knew he was sickly, but I don't think anyone thought he was actively dying. You know what I mean? It was just kind of like I said, Kelly posted that video hours before that, and she's like, "Say hello, Dad." And he's like, "Oh, hello," and he had the
Right,
headphones
right,
on, and
yeah,
was,
right,
this typical Ozzy, and it was just like, what? Like, there's no way. And I saw an interview right before I got on with you where Tony Iommi had said he was talking to Geezer how they believe he kind of knew and that he was just getting this concert finished and kind of tying things up. And maybe we know our bodies sometimes, but we've not heard an official cause of death yet. I'm kind of curious, if it was a blood clot that may have went to his heart or something, or something like that. But such a loss, man. This is such a
yeah.
loss.
Yeah, we're definitely all waiting to hear what the official cause is going to be reported as. Another rumor that's been kicking around, I wanted to get your take on it a little bit, is the suicide pact that's rumored to be going around between him and Sharon, right? That
Yeah.
if he were to pass, or whatever, or they were have some type of illness that would affect their mind or their brain or something like that, and they would be off to Switzerland to end it. And supposedly they had discussed that with the kids and the family, and they were all understanding of that. Do you have any insight on that, or is that just a bunch of
Yeah.
hullabaloo? Or
Well, the kids said a few weeks, but there's been a lot of AI videos recently saying that Ozzy was dying anyway, and this and that. The kids have come out recently and said that was just a bunch of shit. That it is something that Sharon said. She did. No one denies she said it, but
right,
that she was just saying that for attention. It wasn't really anything, And Rob, you know how it is when you get older. Things change. You got kids now. You got grandkids. You got things change, and like right now someone tried to tell me yesterday, said, I heard he went to Switzerland and it was an assisted suicide and it was planned. And I'm like, yeah, because he don't want to walk Kelly down the fucking aisle when she gets married to Sid in a few months. Yeah, you know what I mean?
right, yeah, right.
Because he can still walk. He just can't really, she would have her arm the whole way down the aisle. I mean, it would
Yeah.
be, it's like, come on. You know what I mean?
I'm
Like,
sure.
it's,
I'm sure if he could have, he would have wanted to be there for sure.
yes, for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. So, but it's not something they didn't say. They did say it, but I never took it too seriously. Just like kind of like she said, looking for attention back. I think it was 20 years ago. It was during the Osbournes. So
Yeah. And the other thing that Sharon mentioned is she was going to retire from management. She said this was it. She has become such a powerful icon herself, music mogul in the industry, just after her father, Don. What are your thoughts on that? You think she'll still take on some acts, or you think she's done, or
I would say she's done, Rob. I would say she's done. It's always been focused around Ozzy for the most part, anyway. Of course, and her final act was Back to the Beginning. Tom Morello has gotten pretty much all the credit for that concert, but Sharon put that concert together, and Tom booked the talent and
right,
organized the performance, which was huge, and he knocked it out of the park. I mean, it was that show could not have went more smooth. I mean, I was just waiting all day, praying it didn't happen, but waiting for some catastrophic meltdown of something to go wrong, and it never did. The show was perfect, so Tom nailed it. But at the same time, he didn't put the concert together from scratch. Sharon's the one who got all the charities involved, got all of the, you know what I mean? And I think that was her final act. And she raised $190 million for charity and still counting. They'll still do this theatrical release. They'll release this Blu-ray of the concert, which now is going to sell even more copies of Ozzy's truly final performance no matter how you look at it. That version of him doing "Mom, I'm Coming Home" and he's choked up the entire time, and I mean this, you know. So they're going to reach near $200 million raised for charity. That's amazing. And what a final act
Yeah,
for that.
yeah, it's definitely
You know,
easily. And that show is definitely going to fuel all these other stars that kind of needed a boost. And I think the standout for me anyway during that show, Steven Tyler's
yeah,
performance, right? I mean,
yeah.
that's the one that stood out to me. I think everybody had kind of almost in a sense written him off a little bit. Didn't know if they were going to, if Aerosmith was going to do it one more time. I think that's the next big thing we're going to see.
I think you're right. And he sounded. Hey, it was awesome to see him look so good. He looked great too, and sounded great. And I think it's time for Aerosmith to do the exact same thing. Listen, the format has been printed, right? You know what they did it back to the beginning. It was perfect. These When I first saw the 15-minute sets, I was like, oh man, those are so brief, but it worked out so great. Now America, it's our turn. Boston, Massachusetts, Fenway Park, probably Aerosmith.
Yeah,
I
definitely,
agree.
definitely. So looking forward to that. It was great to see him. They kind of had
Yeah,
that under wraps. They really didn't talk about him being there at all. I mean, I think that was
yeah,
kind of a guarded thing for a while to know that. But like you were saying, Tom Morello did a great job, uh, putting everything together. I was really impressed with all the bands. Like you said, I don't
yeah,
think there was a bad performance. By any of the bands. Some of them weren't as strong as they used to be back in the day. I'd have to say that for some of them. But otherwise, yeah, probably the most memorable metal concert and tribute concert we'll see in our lifetime for sure.
yeah. I agree 100%. And even if you're not that into one of the bands, the sets were 15 minutes. They were so short, it wasn't like it was going to kill you. You know what I mean? And not to mention, they're going to do a Sabbath song. So it's kind of like, oh, you're not really that into Mastodon. Okay, but they're going to do Supernaut here in a minute. So just hang loose and they'll do some Sabbath. Whatever. So yeah, it was excellent. And I mean, just what a send off. Ozzy said leading up to this, he said, if I die on that stage, I'll die happy.
Yeah,
I just got to get up there.
yeah. And he
So
definitely did it. He proved it once again to all his fans and the world, worldwide. And raising that money for the charities was just an amazing thing. The mark
yeah,
he's left on music, I don't think we can even comprehend as of yet. All the band, because he used to always say, the Beatles influenced him. If it wasn't for the Beatles, there wouldn't be any of these bands. But there wouldn't be all these other bands if it wasn't for Sabbath. If it wasn't for metal, there would be none of this. So I
yeah.
hope the bands going forward remember that and pay tribute to that. And we see some new rising stars in rock. Youngblood, I guess, is one of the big rising stars. I wasn't as familiar with him until they showed my girlfriend all about him, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing what he did as well.
Yeah, I turned on to Youngblood about 2 years ago because Ozzy and Sharon was in one of his music videos called "The Funeral." It's a really Billy Idol sounding-ish tune, and turned on to him there. But man, he stole the show the other night. And Nuno Bettencourt playing the guitar solo and changes. Holy shit, that was
Right?
just absolutely. And you knew in real time, like as you're watching it, you're like, this is gonna be one of those performances people talk about for like a long time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It was just like, this is amazing right now. On our show, I kind of refer to it as almost religious. It was just so good. It's such an amazing performance. Everyone involved. I mean, Frank Bello and it just Adam Wakeman. The whole performance is gelled. It was so perfect,
Yeah.
so perfect.
Yeah. Definitely an amazing show, amazing
So
concert. It's too bad I didn't get to see that live, but I definitely saw the stream for it and checked that out. Just the amazing super groups that were there that did that. Just yeah, just an outstanding send off for a rock
yeah,
legend. So I guess what I'm trying to get through as I get through this fog is trying to understand where music's headed and what is next. Is this kind of the end for our generation of this type of music as we've lost, as we always talk about, we've lost another person, another big star, but it's different with Ozzy, right? It's totally different losing him. It's like a footnote
yeah,
or an ending to this style of music. Is that going to be
yeah.
gone?
I understand what you're saying. It's like when you lose a brother or what. Ozzy feels like you lost dad.
Right.
to all of it. You know what I mean? And I know what you mean. And we've lost Eddie Van Halen now and Ozzy. And Rob, the big concern is, and it's just a reality, this is going to start happening. I mean, I look at my Gene Simmonses and Paul Stanleys and Angus Youngs. I mean, none of us are getting any younger.
Right.
And there is some up and coming rock out there that can hopefully keep it going and keep growing and maybe Youngblood can some of these guys can really bring back and keep it going. But the generation that we grew up with, which I would call the golden era of hard rock music, heavy metal, they're nearing 70 years old, nearing 70 and 80 years old. I went and saw the Rolling Stones last year. They were 80 years old. They're 81 now.
Right. Right. Right.
I mean, and it was excellent, by the way. But my big concern is, we're going to lose more brothers. Like I said with Ozzy, I feel like we lost Dad.
Yeah. It's
But
it's so strange. Like none of us really knew him as a person, but the music and the life that he led, we feel we kind of all know him a little bit as fans,
yes,
right? And that's a
yes,
really strange connection, right? It's like
yes,
he had a different, it's like when you're on stage you have a different persona, you're an entertainer, you're a different individual. You off stage and you're a father, you're a husband, you have personal relationships to those people. Us
yeah.
as fans, we feel like we have one, but we don't. I think that's why it hits so hard.
Yeah, I think you kind of nailed that. And with Ozzy, he's always made the fans feel so appreciated. He speaks about it all the time. Dan said on our show yesterday, and I really like this quote. He said, almost to a detriment to his family, he was always there for his fans, and that's really the truth. I mean, he's just always cared so much about the fan base and not letting them down. And the thing about Ozzy too is that I think makes him stand out with me, and I think it really does with the millions. Humility. He's just always seemed like the nicest guy, and you feel like you were saying a minute ago. You feel like you know him. We do feel like we know him because we've seen his personality and we know what he's like and who he really is. It's like the facade of the Prince of Darkness and the Devil Worshiper that went away around 2000 when
Right.
the world was kind of laid on who he really is, and then we all fell in love with the man, not the image anymore. And he was just such a humble person. You know, business deals aside, there could be people who was upset about this contract or that. No one ever said they didn't like the dude.
Right. Everyone was like he was the
You know
greatest
what
guy
I
to be
mean?
around. Yep, he was funny. He was a great guy to be around. They all said that for sure,
Exactly,
100%.
exactly. And that's what makes it so hard. It's like we've lost that. And Ozzy, I've always said this too. Ozzy's for me, and I think so for so many people, he's always had a sense. He's so humble that you almost feel like if Ozzy can do it, I can do it. Like he kind of gives you that vibe of if he can come from where he came from in Aston and Birmingham, in that little house, if he can do it, I can do it. And I think people feel that from him.
Right. Just like the song, you have to believe in yourself or no one will believe in you.
No
100%.
one will believe in you. Good call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And just the amazing musicians he always surrounded himself with, just a testament to that. And obviously so many careers were built and launched after that. Obviously Zach Wild, the opening bands that he had, Motley Crue, Metallica, they owe their careers to being on his tours, to launching their careers, and they realize that.
Oh yeah. For sure. Rat. I mean, it goes on. Def Leppard in '81, Motorhead in 80. I mean, it goes on and on and on. And I've heard some people naysayers in the past say, well, he had so much talent around him. That's what made him great. For one, it's a talent to recognize that talent. Randy Rhoads was unsigned and playing on the Sunset Strip when Ozzy, just instantly took to this dude. And Zach Wild was living at home in New Jersey when
Right.
Ozzy, you know what I mean? Like Jakey Lee, he would play some with Rat a little around the strip, but he
Yeah.
wasn't out there yet. It takes talent, and some of that's Sharon also. I'm not saying it's all
Yeah.
Ozzy. I realize there's a team, but it takes talent to recognize that talent also. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. He definitely had the good people around him that were searching out that talent. I think Data Strum from
Yeah,
Slaughter
Slaughter.
actually introduced
Mm-hmm.
him to Randy Rhoads and got that audition set up for him. But just an amazing legacy, an amazing career, someone that will always remembered in rock music. I don't think he's going to fade. Um, just like people, when people mention that the giant stars of music, you mentioned like the Beatles, you mentioned Elvis Presley, things like that. He's going to be that eternal star also.
Agreed 100%, especially when it comes to hard rock and metal. I mean, if you think heavy metal, if the average person thinks hard rock metal, it's Ozzy Osbourne, right?
100%. We're all saddened for this loss, and we're just trying to move forward with it. Josh, thank you so much for giving us a couple minutes here in retrospect to talk about his career and everything. I really appreciate it, man.
Absolutely, Rob. Reach out anytime, man. Thank you so much.
Okay, joining us now from the extraordinary tribute to the Prince of Darkness from the land of Oz, let's welcome Stephen Desko. Stephen.
I love your town. I love the Riviera. It's one of my favorite places. I don't just say that to all the girls.
For those folks that don't know, Steven's band Land of Oz plays the Riviera Theater in North Tonawanda and packs the house with a great show. We appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking some time and chatting with me. Like I was saying to my previous guest, I'm still in a fog and a haze here, man, of the events that have happened in the last 24 hours.
I just did a streamer with the Landis Theater last night, and I do have a video. It's called "Goodbye to Romance Unplugged Land of Oz." It's on YouTube. We'll throw out a link later, and we did it years ago as a tribute to Randy Rhoads, and it's got Japanese grand piano and cello, and it's really sweet. And I'm only wearing one ring. I wear about 8 now on the shows. I'm just coming from the gym because I see too much video and I need to be less of an Aussie. But um, I thought it was fantastic in a way, and I'm thankful that it's very rare that you basically get to attend your own funeral and have all the outpouring of love that you get to see and feel and hear to take with you. So I have a different take on this, and I'm thankful, and I was happy to see the broadcast, and it was kind of like a full circle. It was really actually I'm glad he made it to the show. So I'm thankful for the time we had, not the time we're not gonna get for me.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Back to the beginning show, something that he had told his fans that he was definitely going to do. He was going to make it to the stage one more time and put on an amazing show, an amazing metal show.
Yeah,
Raised over was like $190 million for Parkinson's and for Children's Hospital, and
yeah.
just an amazing event. I don't think we're going to see a metal concert like that ever again.
Yeah, it was the artist Nuno Betancourt was that dude. That guy has some technique, man. He was shredding in front of the guy who wrote the song like a boss, wasn't he?
He was definitely outstanding. As so many of the folks there were. I was talking to my previous guest about that show. Just I think the standout for me was definitely Steven Tyler, because it was unexpected to see him come out there and just nail it.
And Metallica was phenomenal. They seemed like a machine. They were just like road ready when you get your legs under you and you're just slinging,
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
They were strong as shit too. Can I curse on here?
We can say whatever we want. This is the internet, man. We can say whatever we want. We don't have FCC rules to deal with just yet. So you've been
I
doing
slipped you out, but
you've been doing your Ozzy tribute and Sabbath tribute for years now. What do you think? Why do you think there's such longevity to this man's music? It's just seems to be as strong as it was, back when he started out.
he always has a hired gun level, fantastic, either young or just great musicians around him. We got from Geezer and Iommi, Randy and Zach and Jakey Lee. For the main guitar guys, I'm not a fan of all of them, but Brad Gillis stepped in for a half a tour. I just heard Brad Gillis on Eddie Trunk's show. That was a great interview. I heard Lita Ford there, so I don't want to advertise Eddie Trunk on this, but it was a cool interview on Sirius anyway.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Like you're saying. Yeah. I was reading some stuff and watching some stuff about when Brad stepped in for Bernie Torm. That was a really difficult thing. He had like, I think he had a day or two to learn all the songs and to kind of try to fit in there right away.
Yeah,
And
he's
he just nailed it. Right.
he did great. I'm thinking of popping that album. I gotta track by track that thing and just do a promotion. Right now, I have a few shows. I'm at Daryl's house in New York. I know it's not down the street in New York, but it's in Pauling. Daryl's house on August 6th with Sabbath Super Czars. Tomorrow night, I'm doing something local down here in Delaware County in Pennsylvania. It's right near Philly Airport. We're doing an all night of Sabbath. I'm actually get to run my Daryl's house show, boot camp it before my Daryl's house, which is cool. At Havana, New Hope, I got the Land of Oz on August 15th. And in Elkton, Maryland, on 9/20, we have the Land of Oz. So I have a lot of stuff on the books that I imagine is selling pretty good. And I booked, let's see, in the last 2 days, $16,000 worth of shows. So my phone has not stopped ringing since Ozzy died. And I'm not happy about that, but it's always nice when your phone rings, you know?
Oh yeah,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sure there's going to be a huge outpouring, like I said, for his music, for tribute bands, for that. And you're going to put together a tribute album, Tim? Is that what you're doing, or?
I have a trip. I really don't have. I'm not I do a tribute anyway. We're gonna in memoriam Ozzy at it's called Tom and Jerry's in Delaware County. No one probably in Delaware County. Maybe the one person has come on out, but it's only a 6 hour, 13-minute drive. Come on out, but we're just gonna get to play Ozzy and enjoy that. And I'm going to do the set we wrote for Daryl's house anyway. I do have a yesterday and today product I'm starting. We have it booked December 5th over in New Jersey already, where we'll do 55 minutes of Black Sabbath off of most of the albums, and then hour and 10 minutes of all Ozzy with no Sabbath. So I have a yesterday and today set I'm starting out. And although also I do Ultimate Live Evil, I take the glasses off and do Dio.
Right? You do that as well. This man does
I
it
love
all.
Dio. I love Dio. But back to the Ozzy. We got some shows on the books, getting a lot of new business across. I feel I wouldn't say pressure, positive pressure. I better be awesome. These people are looking now.
And
So
I
I
also
feel like
see, yeah, I also see you started a podcast too. Is it Land of Pod? I think it's called. You got going
the
on.
land of pride. Yeah, we've been having some actually, it's funny. It was some really bad internet at where we locate, and we've had some tech problems, and a producer had some health problems. So, like, we're in a constant state of technical hiatus, but we do still run the Land of Pod, and we have a good time. My partner, I've known for 40 years, so we're like the childhood friends. So it's very goofy and very loose. So I'll tell you a short story about the Land of Pod encapsulates it. Okay, it's a bunch of promotions for all the stuff that I do, my promotion company and my bands, wrapped around a bunch of stories. And it's like if you're out smoking a joint or having a beer with your boys and you're bullshitting, it's kind of like that. But my friend John's not the best reader, or maybe wasn't paying attention. Maybe we were too high. But when Paul Diano died, he died of sepsis. Well, my guy misread it as syphilis. So 4,000 syphilis jokes later, we figured out he died of sepsis. So that was about an hour and a half of our show of Paul Diano. We were the only news outlet that said he died of syphilis, which he did not. So that's the kind of show we do.
All right.
A disclaimer: Paul Diano did not die of syphilis, as my
Right.
partner John Clark said.
Right. Right. So
But
crazy.
there's no sepsis jokes, but there's probably 4,000 syphilis jokes, aren't there?
Yes. Yes. Very, very true, my friend.
So we
Uh,
got more mileage that way, but it's a very impromptu, very just off the cuff, maybe in the vein of an Opie and Anthony or Howard Stern in the old days before he got woke.
yeah. Yeah. And I also saw you had a chance to meet the Oz, and I think his whole family was at one of the horror conventions or something.
Yes, it was maybe, yeah, it was a hard thing in Valley Forge Convention Center, which is about about a half hour from my house. Um, George Washington fought those Brits. So right near the battlefield, there's a casino, and they had this a bunch of friends of mine, and it was funny. The package was 666. It was pretty funny, and it was 777 after taxes and fees. But a bunch of people crowdfunded me. My fans out here, my friends and family, all chipped in 100 or 50 each because I was like, I ain't spending that much, and they sent me and Christy, my wife, to the thing, and we had pictures with Sharon and Ozzy. They're posted around, and Sharon was really sweet, and Kelly was nice. Jack's cool. Um, they had a really nice setup there, and they were doing like, I guess I didn't even bring anything to sign. I just wanted a picture. You know what I mean? And just to see
Right.
the people, but people were bringing like 10, 20, 30 items each, right? And he was there till 1 in the morning signing stuff. I'm doing the math on this. If dudes are bringing 10 things each, $25 or $50 a pop to sign this or that and the other thing. They're all signing shit and they're signing pictures that they're selling. I swear they must have done $8 million that weekend. Just signing shit. It was unbelievable.
Well, yeah, his signature's doubled online, obviously, selling for like 500.
All right.
Both of his books are sold out
Yup.
on Amazon. You know, I Am Ozzy and Last Rites, both
Oh,
completely
great.
sold out. You know, so and now we're looking for the movie going to theater or the show going to theaters, and probably Blu-ray
Oh,
next. I'm thinking for Back to the
I'd
Beginning.
like to say if anyone's watching, I am available and I'm quite the actor.
There you go.
I said that to Sharon. I said, hey, we gave Sharon a T-shirt and our information, which she probably have. If they're doing a tour of like Ozzy signing stuff, I'm probably the 400th Ozzy impersonator that said, "Oh, hi," you know. So,
Right, right.
but it's all love. I love doing this. I gotta say, unlike most of the Ozzy guys, this is my real hair. I faked the color because I'm 56, and I'm reasonably in shape, and I don't use that stupid chorus effect. I actually sing and use a little echo. I don't cheat. We don't use tracks. It's real music.
No
The way
Eventide
God,
harmonizers you got back there?
I don't do it, man. It sounds like ass. It's like you, me, a 5-year-old, anyone could just make that noise, and the chorus and octavers up, and you do the high, low, medium, and it's so cheater. I see all the other bands. There's an Ozzy. Ozzy's a lot of canned effects, you know, because I imagine he's a little. It's almost like you're like pushing a keyboard with your vocal. Like there's so much hair on some of these bands because they can't sing. And
Right.
Ozzy's got a deceptively difficult voice. To like for me, um, he makes notes that aren't even notes; they're noises, and it's like I got to figure out how to get there. You know what I mean?
Right, right, exactly. Well, so
Synth of the
what?
universe, you know, shit like that. It's like, whoa, what's
Yeah.
that?
So what drew you to doing this? What drew you to being an Ozzy tribute?
I did originals for years. I have a couple albums. It was Gary Gill and Bicycle Pete. I have a couple CDs out. Minorly successful, nothing huge. And at 32, I have a couple kids. I'm married. You get into covers, right? And then at the end of the cover set, it evolved into like half a set of but War Pigs. I like John Lennon, so I wore the glasses. Then I did War Pigs, and it became Ozzy. So that was about, I'd say, 24 years ago. I started doing Ozzy with the Black Friday project, and then we had the Ozman Cometh, and then Masters of Reality, and then Land of Oz, and then Just Sabbath, and I just put together Sabbath Super Czars, which is a new Sabbath product because Just Sabbath kind of had a divorce, and that's fine. They're my friends. It just didn't, business sometimes goes the wrong way, and so Sabbath Super Czars is my new thing. Like I said, Daryl's house, and the Czars is TZARS, like that song, that instrumental, and that is that on Sabotage? Maybe. I don't
Yeah, definitely. Very, very
know.
cool. I
One of
know.
them, sir.
Yeah, I know you're so busy, man. You got so many shows coming up. That's so cool. I just want to say
Love
I
it.
appreciate you giving us a couple minutes and chatting Ozzy and chatting what's going on with the Land of Oz. All your shows are
You are
coming
a
up.
great I love you, man. You're my friend. You've been a good supporter of us, and you're like Elvis. Like you make some of my shows, but I always leave a ticket for you. Like Jerry Glanville used to leave a ticket for Elvis at the shows. Even if you don't show up, you're always welcome at my shows. I always got a ticket left for you, like Elvis.
I appreciate you so much, my friend.
You
Definitely.
are
So,
my
folks,
Elvis.
thank you so much. So, folks out there, you can check out Steven Desko and the Land of Oz. And what's your new Sabbath supergroup? You said
Sabbath Super Czars.
Sabbath Superstar. So check that out and
Okay?
check out the dates online for when
And
Steven's going to be coming.
and if you want a little tear to your eye, we have a real nice tribute to the Prince of Darkness and Randy Rhoads, and it's called Goodbye to Romance. It's on YouTube. If you look up Goodbye to Romance Unplugged, you see the Land of Oz thing. It's in black and white. I'll give you a short background before you let me go or we let each other go. But um, it was basically a satire of the Extreme video more than words, but done acoustic Goodbye to Romance. So any of these sharp guys, the drummer does not play in the song, but he's in there as an actor doing different stuff like reading a newspaper and playing solitaire because he's not on the track. So all of our bands in it, the old drummer for Land of Oz, Tom Suzuki, Paul Picari, who's no longer with the band, produced and directed. And it's a beautiful piece. And if you want a little tribute to Ozzy, it's got cello in it, Japanese grand piano. It's beautiful. Goodbye to Romance, Land of Oz, YouTube, Unplugged. Goodbye to Romance, Unplugged. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you, dude. I love the Riviera.
Definitely, definitely. So, folks, you want to check out that video? We got it posted on our Facebook page talking about rock. You can check out that link to that for Steven's Goodbye to Romance video. Steven, man, always a pleasure to speak with you, man. Hope to see you guys soon.
You're the best, Robert. You do a great job, Robert.
Thanks so much, Steve.
Yes, dude. Thank you.